The Galactic Unity School floated in the darkness of space like a small moon. It was built on Station Horizon 7, far from any planet, in a place where young beings from many worlds came to learn together. The station was old and had seen many students come and go over hundreds of years. It was a peaceful place, a place of books and lessons and quiet friendships between species, who had once been strangers to each other. On this particular morning, the peace was about to break. Emily Park sat in the back of her classroom, her eyes on the window that showed the endless stars outside. She was 17 years old, born on Earth in the Korean district of Los Angeles. Her parents had sent her here 2 years ago, believing that studying among alien species would give her a better future. She was not sure they were right. The other students rarely talked to her. To them, humans were new to space travel. Earth had only joined the galactic community 200 years ago, which was nothing compared to species that had been flying between stars for thousands of years. Humans were seen as children, curious but not important. Emily had learned to be quiet, to watch, and to keep her thoughts to herself. Her best friend David Kim sat beside her. He was also from Los Angeles, also Korean American, and also largely ignored by the alien students. They had found each other in their first week on the station and had been close ever since. "You are daydreaming again," David whispered. Emily smiled but did not look away from the window. "I am thinking. About what?" Before she could answer, the classroom door opened with a loud sound. Their teacher, a tall being made of living crystal named Professor Felix, stopped speaking in the middle of his sentence. His body flickered with colors that meant surprise and fear. A shadow filled the doorway. The being that entered was enormous. He stood at least 7 feet tall, with gray skin that looked like stone and eyes that burned like hot coals. He wore armor that was black and red, covered with symbols that Emily did not recognize. Behind him came 12 soldiers, each one almost as big as he was, each one carrying weapons that hummed with energy. Emily felt David grab her arm under the desk. Around them, students of every species pressed back against their seats. Of one student, a reptile nearly 6 feet tall, made a small sound of fear. Even the Keth, insect-like beings known for their bravery, pulled their wings tight against their bodies. "I am Warlord Thrace," the giant announced. His voice was deep and filled the room like thunder. "Commander of the Dominion Fleet, conqueror of the Felix system, the Burning Moons, and the Fortress of Kar." Professor Felix stepped forward, his crystal body shaking slightly. "Warlord Thrace, this is a school. We are not part of any military matter. These are children. I know what they are," Thrace interrupted. He smiled, but it was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator looking at prey. "That is why I am here." He walked slowly through the classroom, looking at the students one by one. When his eyes passed over Emily, she felt a chill run through her body. But she did not look away. She met his gaze and held it until he moved on. "The Dominion does not seek war with the Unity Accord," Thrace continued. "We seek worthy opponents, strong species, beings who can stand beside us as equals, not beneath us as slaves." He stopped at the front of the room and turned to face everyone. "I have come to test the youth of this station." A murmur ran through the students. "Test? What kind of test?" "Tomorrow, in the combat arena, any student may face one of my soldiers in single combat. The rules are simple. Fight until one cannot continue. No killing, unless necessary." He said this last part with another cold smile. "Any species whose champion defeats my soldier earns a seat at the Dominion Council, a voice in galactic matters, power beyond what your little Unity Accord can offer." Professor Felix's crystal form turned dark with worry. "This is highly irregular. The students are not trained for combat. They are scholars. Then they will learn," Thrace said simply. "Or they will fail. Either way, The Dominion will know which species deserve our respect and which do not. He turned and walked toward the door. His soldiers parted to let him pass, then fell into formation behind him. At the doorway, Thrace paused and looked back. "I wonder," he said slowly, "if there is any courage left in this generation, or if the Unity Accord has made you all soft and weak." His burning eyes swept across the room one last time. "Prove me wrong, if you can." Then he was gone. For a long moment, no one spoke. Professor Velix flickered through a dozen colors, none of which Emily could read. Then the classroom exploded into noise. Students shouted questions. Some were scared. Some were angry. A few were already talking about who should represent their species. David turned to Emily with wide eyes. "What just happened?" Emily did not answer immediately. She was watching the doorway where Thrace had stood. Her mind was working, turning over what she had seen and heard. "He is testing us," she said finally. "But not just our strength." "What do you mean?" "Did you see how he looked at everyone?" He was watching for reactions. Who was scared? Who was angry? Who did nothing? Emily turned to face her friend. "He wants to know who might be a threat someday. This whole thing is about finding out which species to worry about." David frowned. "And what did he decide about humans?" Emily thought about the moment when Thrace's eyes had passed over her. There had been nothing in his gaze. No interest. No concern. No recognition at all. "He decided we are not worth thinking about," she said quietly. That night, Emily lay in her small room and stared at the ceiling. Sleep would not come. Her mind kept returning to the look in Thrace's eyes when he had seen her. That complete dismissal. That total certainty that she was nothing. Her grandmother had told her stories when she was young. Stories about their ancestors in Korea. About farmers and fighters who had survived invasions and wars and disasters that should have destroyed them. "We are small," her grandmother had said. "But small does not mean weak. Remember that." Emily remembered. She made her decision before sunrise. The combat arena was the largest room on Station Horizon 7. It had been built for sports and ceremonies, not for real fighting. But on this morning, it looked like a battlefield. Thrace's soldiers stood in a line at one end, their weapons put away, but their bodies still dangerous. The seats around the arena were filled with students and teachers from every species on the station. Emily arrived early with David. They found seats near the middle, where they could see everything. David kept looking at her with worried eyes, but Emily's face showed nothing. She watched and waited. Warlord Thrace sat in a special box above the arena floor, like a king watching his kingdom. His armor caught the light and made him look even more frightening than before. Beside him sat the headmaster, a very old being named Elder Morith, who looked small and tired next to the massive Warlord. "We will now hear from those who wish to accept the challenge," Elder Morith announced. His voice was thin and shaky. The first to stand was Earthborn, one of the reptile people. His name was Grath, and he was the biggest student in the school. His scales were dark green, and his teeth were sharp like knives. When he walked to the arena floor, his footsteps made the ground shake. "I will fight for the Vorn people," Grath declared. "I am not afraid." Thrace nodded slowly. "Good. You have size. We will see if you have strength." Next came a Keth, an insect being named Chitter. The Keth were known for their speed. They could move faster than most eyes could follow. Chitter's wings buzzed as she flew down to the arena floor. "The Keth have never run from battle," she said. "I will show you our courage." More students came forward. A Mindari, the telepathic beings who could read thoughts and move objects with their minds. A Tarvuk, a species with 4 arms and skin-like armor. A Balix, a being made of pure energy that floated and glowed. 6 champions in total, each one the strongest or fastest or most powerful of their kind, that no human stood. Emily felt David's relief beside her. He thought she had changed her mind. He was wrong. Is there no one else? Thrace called out. His voice was amused. He had gotten what he came for. He would test these species and decide their worth. Everything was going as he planned. Emily stood up. The movement was small. She was small, but somehow everyone noticed. The arena fell silent. Thousands of eyes turned to look at the tiny human girl in the middle of the crowd. "I will fight," Emily said. Her voice was calm and clear. For a moment, nothing happened. Then laughter started. It began with the Vorn students and spread quickly. Soon, half the arena was laughing at the human girl who thought she could fight. Thrace raised his hand, and the laughter stopped. A human? He leaned forward in his seat, his burning eyes studying her. "Your species has been in space for barely 200 years. You have no claws, no armor, no natural weapons. You are soft and weak and small." He tilted his head. "Why should I waste my soldiers' time on you?" Emily walked down toward the arena floor. The crowd parted to let her pass, still giggling and whispering. She did not look at any of them. Her eyes stayed on Thrace. "I do not want to fight one of your soldiers," she said. The laughter died instantly. Thrace's amusement faded. His face became hard and cold. "Then, why are you wasting my time?" "I want to fight your top fighter," Emily said. "Your best. Your champion." The silence that followed was so complete that Emily could hear her own heartbeat. Every being in the arena stared at her, some with shock, some with confusion, some with what might have been respect, though it was hard to tell. David pushed through the crowd and grabbed her arm. "Emily, what are you doing?" His voice was desperate. "This is crazy." "You cannot. I can," Emily said quietly. "And I will." Thrace stood slowly. He was so tall that even from the high box, he seemed to tower over everyone. His soldiers shifted nervously. They knew their commander's moods. This was not a good mood. "You insult me, little human," Thrace said. His voice was low and dangerous. "You insult my soldiers. You insult the Dominion itself." "No," Emily replied. "I am being practical. If I fight your soldiers one by one, it will take time. If I beat them all, you will say they were not your best. So I want to fight your best from the start. If I lose, you prove that humans are weak. If I win, there are no excuses." Thrace stared at her for a long, long moment. The arena held its breath. Then, slowly, a smile spread across the Warlord's stone face. But this smile was different from before. It was not the smile of a predator. It was the smile of someone who had found something unexpected and interesting. "You have courage," he admitted. "Foolish courage, but courage." He nodded once. "Very well. You will face Commander Draven. He's my finest warrior. He has fought in 100 battles and won them all. He has killed 47 opponents in official combat." Emily did not flinch. "When do we start?" "Tomorrow at noon," Thrace said. "That will give you time to say goodbye to your friends, and to make peace with whatever gods your species prays to." He sat back down, still smiling that strange smile. David pulled Emily away from the arena floor, his hands shaking. "Have you lost your mind? Draven is a monster. He is not even the same species as Thrace. He is something worse, something bred for killing. You have seen the videos. He tears his opponents apart." "I have seen the videos," Emily agreed. "Then you know you cannot win." Emily looked at her friend. For a moment, her calm mask slipped, and David saw something underneath. Something fierce and burning and absolutely certain. "They do not know what humans are," she said softly. "They see us as weak because we are small. They think we are prey because we do not have claws or fangs. But they are wrong. She looked back at the arena, where the alien champions were already preparing for their fights. Tomorrow they will learn. David wanted to argue more. He wanted to shake her and make her see reason. But the look in her eyes stopped him. It was a look he had never seen before. It was the look of a hunter. The news spread across the station like fire. By evening, everyone knew about the human girl who had asked to fight Commander Draven. Most thought she was crazy. Some thought she was brave, but stupid. A few wondered if she knew something they did not. The betting started within hours. Students from every species placed wagers on how long Emily would last. The most popular guess was 15 seconds. A few generous souls gave her 30. No one bet on her to win. That would have been throwing money away. Emily spent the afternoon in the station's library, reading. David found her there as the artificial sun dimmed to simulate evening. "Everyone is talking about you," he said. Sitting down across from her, "I know. They think you are going to die." Emily turned a page. "I know that too." David grabbed the book from her hands. It was old, a physical book made of paper, which was rare in space. The cover showed humans from long ago, running across a grassland under a hot sun. "What is this?" he asked. "A history book. About how our ancestors used to hunt." David frowned. "Hunt? With what?" "We do not have claws or venom, or we have feet," Emily said. "And patience." She took the book back and opened it to a page with pictures. They showed ancient humans chasing an animal across a dry landscape. The animal was fast, much faster than the humans. But the humans kept following, walking and jogging under the burning sun. "This is called persistence hunting," Emily explained. "Our ancestors could not catch fast animals in a short chase. So they did not try. Instead, they followed the animal for hours, sometimes for a whole day. They walked when the animal ran. They jogged when the animal slowed down. They never stopped." David looked at the pictures. "But the animal was faster." "Yes, but most animals cannot run for long. They overheat. Their hearts give out. Their legs fail." Emily tapped a picture of a fallen animal surrounded by tired but alive humans. "Humans are different. We can run and walk for longer than almost any creature on Earth. We sweat, which keeps us cool. Our bodies are built for endurance, not speed. Our ancestors did not chase prey to catch it. They chased prey until it fell down and could not get up again." David sat back, his mind working. "And you think this will work against Draven?" "I think Draven is like every other predator in the galaxy. Big, strong, fast, dangerous." Emily closed the book. "But he is not built to last. None of them are. They evolved to hunt in short bursts, to kill quickly and rest. They never faced something that just kept coming and would not stop. Until now." Emily smiled slightly. "Until now." That night, they walked to the observation lounge together. It was Emily's favorite place on the station, a large room with windows that looked out at the stars. In the distance, Earth was visible as a tiny blue dot, almost lost among the countless points of light. "Tell me about your grandmother," David said. "You mentioned her before." Emily was quiet for a moment. "She raised me. My parents were always working, trying to make money so they could send me here. Grandmother was the one who taught me how to be strong." "Strong how?" "Not with muscles." Emily touched her temple. "Here." She said that our family had survived many hard things. Invasions, wars, poverty, things that should have destroyed us. But we were still here because we never gave up. We bent but did not break. We waited and endured and kept going when others would have stopped. She looked at Earth, so small and far away. She made me practice martial arts from when I was 5 years old. Not to fight, she said. To learn patience. To learn control. to understand my body and what it could do. Emily held up her hand, looking at her small fingers. She showed me that being small is not a weakness. It can be a strength. Small means you can move in ways big things cannot. Small means you need less food, less water, less air. Small means you survive when big things starve. David shook his head slowly. But Draven is not going to starve. He's going to try to kill you in seconds. Yes, he will try. Emily lowered her hand. But he will fail, because he does not understand what I am. None of them do. And what are you? Emily turned to face him. In the dim light of the observation lounge, her eyes seemed to glow with something ancient and fierce. I am human, she said simply. I am the daughter of people who walked out of Africa and spread across an entire planet, who climbed mountains and crossed deserts and swam frozen rivers because we had to, who faced bears and wolves and tigers with nothing but sticks and stones and won because we refused to die. She looked back at the stars. I am what happens when a species spends millions of years learning how to survive against everything the universe throws at it. David felt a shiver run down his spine. He had known Emily for 2 years. She had always been quiet, gentle, easy to overlook. But now, for the first time, he saw something else in her. Something old. Something dangerous. You really think you can win? He said. It was not a question. I do not think, Emily replied. I know. They stood in silence for a while, watching the stars turn slowly outside the window. Somewhere on the station, Commander Draven was probably sleeping peacefully, confident that tomorrow would be easy. He had killed 47 opponents. He expected the human girl to be number 40-8. He was wrong. Emily did not sleep that night. Instead, she sat in her room and thought about her grandmother, about Earth, about all the generations of humans who had survived impossible things through stubbornness and endurance and the simple refusal to quit. Tomorrow? She would show the galaxy what that meant. Tomorrow. They would learn why humans were not prey. They were the most patient predators the universe had ever seen. The arena was full. Every seat held a body. Every body leaned forward with excitement or fear or curiosity. News of the fight had spread beyond Station Horizon 7. Broadcasts were being sent to dozens of worlds. Millions of beings across the galaxy were watching, waiting to see what would happen when a tiny human girl faced the most dangerous warrior in the Dominion. Emily stood at one end of the arena floor. She wore simple training clothes, gray and loose, made for movement. Her black hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail. She had no armor, no weapons, no protection at all. In the stands, David sat with his hands pressed together, his knuckles white. Around him, aliens whispered and pointed at the small human figure below. Their words were not kind. She looks like a child, a Voran student said. Laughing, this will be over quickly, a Keth agreed. Her wings clicking with anticipation. Waste of time, someone else muttered. Humans should stay on their little blue planet where they belong. David wanted to shout at them, to tell them they were wrong. But he kept quiet. Words would not help Emily now. Nothing would help her except herself. At the other end of the arena, a door opened. Commander Draven stepped through. The crowd went silent. Draven was not like Thrace. Where Thrace was built like a mountain, Draven was built like a blade. He stood 8 feet tall, his body covered in plates of natural armor that looked like black metal. His arms ended in hands that had 4 fingers each, and each finger was a claw as long as a knife. His face was narrow and sharp, with no nose, just 2 slits that opened and closed as he breathed. His eyes were yellow and cold, like a snake's eyes, and they locked onto Emily immediately. He moved toward the center of the arena with a smooth, gliding walk. Every step was controlled. Every movement was perfect. This was a creature that had been born to kill and had spent its entire life getting better at it. Emily walked to meet him. She stopped 10 feet away, looking up at the monster that towered over her. Draven tilted his head, studying her the way a cat might study a mouse. "You are smaller than I expected," Draven said. His voice was soft and hissing, like wind through dead leaves. "I thought humans would at least be tall." "We come in many sizes," Emily replied. Draven's thin mouth curved into something that might have been a smile. "It does not matter. Big or small, you all break the same way." In the Warlord's box, Thrace leaned forward. He was curious now. The human girl's calmness was strange. She should be terrified. She should be begging or crying or trying to run. Instead, she stood there like she was waiting for a bus. "What is she doing?" Thrace asked Elder Morith. The old headmaster shook his head. "I do not know. Humans are difficult to understand." The bell rang. Draven moved. He was fast. Faster than anything his size should be. His claws cut through the air where Emily's head had been. A strike that would have taken it clean off her shoulders. But Emily was not there. She had stepped to the side at the last moment, sliding past Draven's arm like water flowing around a rock. The movement was small and simple, but it put her behind him while he was still finishing his attack. Draven spun, slashing again. Emily ducked, dropping low and rolling away. His claws passed over her head, close enough to cut a few strands of loose hair. The crowd murmured with surprise. The human had dodged, twice, but Draven was only warming up. He attacked again and again, a storm of claws and strikes that came from every angle. Each attack was meant to kill. Each attack was perfectly aimed and timed. He had killed dozens of opponents with attacks just like these. Emily dodged them all. She did not fight back. She did not try to hurt Draven or block his attacks. She simply moved, constantly and endlessly, always finding the one spot where his claws were not. It was like watching someone dance through raindrops without getting wet. 1 minute passed. 2 minutes. 3. The crowd grew quiet. This was not what they had expected. The human should be dead by now. Instead, she was still moving, still breathing, still completely unhurt. And Draven was starting to slow down. It was small at first. His strikes came a little later. His recovery took a little longer. But Emily noticed. She had been waiting for it. Thrace noticed too. He stood up in his box, his burning eyes narrow. "What is happening?" On the arena floor, Draven stopped attacking. His chest was heaving now. Steam rose from his armored body as his internal temperature climbed. He was built for short, violent bursts of combat. Kill quickly, then rest. That was how his species fought. But he had not killed Emily, and he had not rested. "Stand still," Draven hissed. His voice was not soft anymore. It was angry and frustrated. "Stand still and fight me." Emily kept moving. She jogged backward, then to the side, then forward. Small movements, nothing impressive, but constant. Always constant. "No," she said simply. Draven roared and charged at her. His speed was still frightening, but it was less than before. His claws swung wild, missing by inches instead of touching her hair. Emily moved around him like he was standing still, always staying just out of reach. 4 minutes. 5 minutes. Draven's movements became clumsy. He stumbled on a turn. His arms dropped lower between attacks. His yellow eyes were not cold anymore. They were confused, desperate. "What are you?" he demanded, gasping for air. Emily stopped moving. For the first time since the fight began, she stood still. Draven was 5 feet away, bent over, his claws resting on his knees. His whole body shook with exhaustion. "I am human," Emily said, "and we do not stop." Draven pushed himself upright with the last of his strength. He raised one claw for a final attack, putting everything he had left into one killing blow. Emily moved. It was not a dodge this time. It was an attack. She stepped inside his reach, past his claw, and struck with her open palm at the base of his skull, where the armor plates did not quite meet. The spot she hit was small, no bigger than a coin, but it was the same spot that every creature with a spine had. The place where nerves came together. The place where a precise hit could turn off a body, like flipping a switch. Her grandmother had made her practice that strike 10,000 times. Draven's eyes went wide. His claws stopped in mid-swing. His legs folded beneath him. He fell. The arena was silent. Completely, totally silent. Every being in the stand stared at the impossible sight below. Commander Draven, the undefeated champion, lay unconscious on the arena floor. And standing over him, barely breathing hard, was a small human girl who had not even made a fist. Emily looked up at the Warlord's box. Her eyes met Thrace's across the distance. She did not smile. She did not gloat. She simply stood there and waited. The silence stretched on. Then, slowly, David Kim stood up in the stands. He raised his hands and began to clap. One person joined him. Then another. Then a dozen. Then 100. The applause grew until it filled the arena like thunder. Emily had won. The applause continued for a long time. Emily stood alone in the center of the arena, surrounded by the sound of thousands of beings expressing something they had never expected to feel. Respect, wonder, maybe even a little fear. Medical staff rushed onto the arena floor to check on Draven. He was alive, his armored chest rising and falling slowly. But he would not wake up for hours. The strike to his nerve cluster had shut down his body completely. A clean and precise knockout that had done no permanent damage. In the stands, David pushed through the crowd, trying to reach the arena floor. Aliens who had ignored him for 2 years now stepped aside to let him pass. They looked at him differently now. He was human, like the girl who had just defeated the undefeatable. Warlord Thrace descended from his box. His soldiers moved to follow, but he waved them back with one massive hand. He walked alone across the arena floor, his heavy footsteps echoing in the space that the applause had left. Emily turned to face him as he approached. The size difference between them was almost funny. He was more than 2 feet taller than her, and probably 5 times her weight. His stone-gray skin and burning eyes made him look like a demon from an old Earth legend. She looked like a schoolgirl who had wandered into the wrong place, but she did not step back. She did not lower her eyes. She met his gaze the way she had met Draven's claws, with calm certainty. Thrace stopped in front of her. For a long moment, he simply looked at her, studying her face as if trying to understand a puzzle. How? He finally asked. The word was simple, but his voice held genuine curiosity. Humans are endurance hunters, Emily said. Our ancestors chased prey for hours until it collapsed from exhaustion. We are not fast or strong or armored, but we can keep going longer than almost any species in the galaxy. Thrace considered this. You did not run from Draven. You made him chase you. Yes. And you knew he would tire before you did. Yes. Thrace shook his head slowly. Something that might have been admiration flickered in his burning eyes. In all my years, I have never seen that strategy. No species has ever thought to fight that way. No species needed to, Emily replied. They had claws or teeth or venom. They did not have to outlast their enemies. But we did. Evolution made us this way because we had nothing else. Nothing else, Thrace repeated. And yet that nothing else just defeated my finest warrior. He was silent for another moment. Then he did something that shocked everyone watching, both in the arena and across the galaxy. Warlord Thrace, conqueror of 100 worlds, bowed his head. Earth has earned its seat at the Dominion Council, he announced. his voice carrying to every corner of the arena. The human species has proven their worth. The crowd erupted again, louder than before. Emily allowed herself a small smile. It was over. She had done what she came to do. David finally reached the arena floor and ran to her side. He looked like he wanted to hug her and shake her and laugh and cry all at the same time. "You actually did it," he said, his voice breaking. "You actually won. I told you I would." "I know, but—" He shook his head. "I did not really believe it." No one did. Emily looked at the stands, at the thousands of alien faces staring down at her. Most of them had laughed at her yesterday. Most of them had bet on her death this morning. Now they looked at her with new eyes. "They believe it now," she said. Frey spoke again, drawing everyone's attention back to him. "I came to this station looking for worthy opponents. I thought I would find strong species, dangerous species that might one day challenge the Dominion." He looked at Emily with something like wonder. "Instead, I found humans, small, soft, new to space, and more dangerous than anything I expected." He turned to address the crowd directly. "Let this be known across the galaxy. Humans are not to be dismissed. They are not children or prey or curiosities. They are survivors. They are hunters." His voice dropped lower. "And the universe should be grateful that they have chosen to be friends rather than enemies." The words hung in the air like smoke after a fire. Later that evening, after the broadcasts had ended and the crowds had gone home, Emily sat in the observation lounge again. The stars looked the same as always. Earth was still a tiny blue dot in the distance. But everything had changed. David sat beside her, quiet for once. He was still processing what had happened, still trying to understand how his quiet friend had become a legend in a single day. "What happens now?" he asked eventually. Emily thought about it. "Earth gets a seat at the Dominion Council. That means humans will have a voice in galactic politics. We will not be ignored anymore. All because of you. All because of what humans are." Emily shook her head. "I did not do anything special today, David. I just showed them who we are, what our ancestors were, what we have always been." "And what is that?" Emily looked at the stars, at the countless worlds where beings were now talking about the human girl who had defeated a monster. Some would be scared of humans after today. Some would be curious. Some would want to test humans for themselves. The galaxy had changed, and humanity's place in it had changed with it. "We are the ones who do not quit," Emily said softly. "We are the ones who keep getting up no matter how many times we fall. We are the ones who face impossible odds and find a way to win anyway." She smiled, thinking of her grandmother, of her parents, of all the generations of humans who had survived and thrived against everything. "We are small and soft and short-lived, but we are here, and we are not going anywhere." David looked at his friend, at the small human girl who had just earned her species a place among the stars. He felt pride swelling in his chest, pride in being human, pride in belonging to a species that could produce someone like Emily Park. "I am glad I am your friend," he said. Emily laughed. And for a moment, she was just a 17-year-old girl again. Not a legend or a symbol or a champion. Just Emily. "I am glad too," she said. They sat together as the station turned slowly through space, watching Earth grow slightly larger as they orbited closer. Somewhere out there, billions of humans were going about their daily lives, unaware that their place in the galaxy had just been secured by one of their own. They would learn soon enough. And when they did, they would understand what Emily had always known. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not small. Humanity was patient, enduring, unbreakable. And now the universe knew it too.